What's up YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to break down the TA, we're going to look at the options chain, we're going to go through both Ortex and Fintel. We've got a boatload of news I want to cover today. Some George tweets, some political news. Yeah, crazy. Uncle Smokey's going to talk about some political news. We've got a little bit of market news. And then at the end of the video, of course, my prediction. So let's just go ahead and break it down. So today we opened up the day at $5.52. We hit a high of $5.57, a low of $5.04, and we closed the day out at $5.11, finishing down about 8.59% on the day. And that's on about 9 million in volume. So our volume was really low today. And of course, I've said it many times over. Volume is what's going to drive the stock. If we have low volume with some selling pressure, it's absolutely going to drive it down. Now, I'm going to tell you, yes, there were some short attacks today. Our short numbers are probably going to show that there was a great number of short attacks. But there was also a lot of selling today. In fact, if you go ahead and look over here at the order flow chart, you can see that very clearly. There was sell-offs. Now, we're going to cover why I think there was sell-offs, and I don't want you guys to worry too much. I don't want you to think too much into this. The outflow is currently showing about 12 million in outflow compared to only 8.8 million in inflow. So that is absolutely showing that there was more selling than there was buying today. All right, so the other thing I want to go ahead and point out is we have broke out of our ascending level, or our ascending line. We have come down and we've basically confirmed a new trend. We are in a downward trend. Now, I don't think this is going to last very long. I think there are some things happening in the market and in the world that are creating for this to be the way it is. I do want you to go ahead and look down here at the RSI and the histogram. The RSI is cruising right around 50, and the histogram is showing up a red bar with the MACD line crossing over the signal line, hooking down. Everything is not looking very good right now. This is all very bearish indicators, guys. But again, I'm not looking for these to stay the way they are for a very long period of time at all. In fact, more than a day. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's see here. Where do we want to go next? Oh, yeah. Let's move over to the market. So, as you'll see here, overall, everything finished in the red today. You've got the SPY down 1.29%. You have got IXIC down 2.14%, which that's the NASDAQ. You've got the Russell 2000 down, 0.91%. And you got the Dow Jones down 0.94%. So every single one of the major indexes out there were down. They were in the red today. So again, when the overall market's down, you can expect for our stock to come down. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on over to the options chain. Now, in the options chain today, we've got 13,400 calls and 3,000 puts for a grand total of 16,400 contracts traded today. And our IV's at 136.67%, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm still showing a lot of bullishness in the stock. And in fact, if you come over here and look at some of our future expiration dates, you're going to see the same thing as I do. You've got right in here already 6, 7, we'll call that 7,000 right there. Call it another 2,000. There's 9,000 contracts, options contracts. Call contracts at the November strike alone, November 19th strike alone. Expiration. Forgive me. And then at the January 21st expiration of 2022, look at this. 14,000 calls at the $10 strike. Absolutely amazing. You don't have 14,000 puts between November and January together. I'm not worried. Not in the least. We are still very bullish. one of those things that you can always say is, when you're worried about the price of the stock, you can go two places. Number one, you can go to the options chain. You can confirm to make sure that there's still a bullish sentiment in the stock, and there absolutely is. The other thing you can do is zoom out. Go right back to your chart, your one-day chart, and pull it out. Look at where we've come from about a month and a half ago, roughly, and look at where we are today. I'm not upset trading at $5.10. No big deal. We're not still at $2.80. That would be disastrous, coming that far down. No worries, guys. So let's go ahead and move on over to, well, we'll start with FinViz, mainly because it's just showing you everything I've just said. First and foremost, technology sector is blood red. Blood red. And there's a lot of reasons why that could be. First and foremost, we've got a major shortage as far as it goes with chips. So we've got a chip shortage. We've got supply chain issues. We've got a lot of uncertainty in the market, things like that. So again, the overall sector was down. So there's no reason to be too terribly worried about what is going on with Meta. Let's go to Ortex real quick. Let's hit refresh. All right, let's see if my internet's going to speed up at all today. Not really. Let's click that button, see where everything's at. So currently, well, this is this morning. We have 93.39% utilization. Cost to borrow sitting at 9.23%. And currently we have 2.32 days to cover. Shares on loans at 47.25 million, and that is about 24.71% of the free float. Now, here's the really interesting part that I'm seeing. There was about a 3% return on the day, showing that there was about 2.3 million shares borrowed compared to 4 million shares return. But the estimated short interest went down compared to what I gave you guys this morning. But the short interest of the free float went up. How does this number go down and this number go up? I really don't know. I'm kind of thinking it's going to probably correct itself in the morning, but I do know Ortex has been having some issues as of late with getting some information in there correctly. And I don't think it's their fault. I do think it's being what is reported to them, and the algorithm's just all screwed up. So let's move over to Fintel. So I'm not going to cover a whole lot of things here on Fintel today. We're going to do our usual stuff, but the one thing I do want to note is I have said in the past that they are updating their site regularly, and this is one of those instances. Let's hit refresh. So you'll notice here that they've added some stuff right up here at the very top column showing the dark pool data. This is the FINRA dark pool data. Now, the one thing I don't think I've covered enough of is the fact that there is more than one dark pool. Fintel only covers FINRA. Just like there's more than one exchange, okay? We only get the reported from certain exchanges on Fintel, just like we only get reported certain exchanges on Ortex. So always keep that in mind, that there's more than one dark pool, but this is one of the larger ones. This is the one that gets reported to Fintel. So currently, according to FINRA, there were 3,655,000, which is roughly half of the volume today. Actually, it's a little lower. And that was 49.51% was short volume in the dark pool. Scroll down here, our short squeeze score is at 81.04 out of 100. Again, I'm not too concerned with this. We're not ready to squeeze anyway. And this is proof. This is proof. We just pulled back a lot, guys. I thought 535 was a stable point. Apparently, I was wrong. So according to 1 hour ago, there's about 500,000 shares available to be lent to be shorted into the market. This morning, when I put out my post, there was 1.1 million shares available. They didn't gobble them up as fast as I thought, and that is because of, again, what we're going to come up to here in a little bit, the news going on in the market today. Scroll down here. Fintel's short borrow fee rate is 6.33%. That is a intraday number. And let's see here. Oh, good. This is all updated right down here. Oh, this is all new. Wow. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put you on a brief pause. All right, after reading this a little bit, it looks like they just elaborated the data a little bit better than what it was before, which is really cool. I like the fact that they're constantly updating their site. So shows here that the FINRA dark pool total volume today was 4,346,000 plus. which is, again, that's about half of our volume for the day. And their short volume was 49.51%. Now, the CBOE has not quite gotten their information in there, and I wouldn't expect for it to be too terribly much higher. I think we're going to be ending in about the 52% range right here in the total short volume ratio. So we got a George tweet today, which was this one here, at Lux Research. They did get Innovator of the Year award for 2021, which is absolutely awesome. Freaking sweet. I did go ahead and tweet this out earlier, as well as Sterling did. Also, we got a tweet today from George personally. I believe both Sterling and I did, which is absolutely awesome. And it is right here. Of course, there's a little pop-up. So this was sent to us by Streetwise Reports. It's a really cool write-up written, it looks like yesterday, and it's a really cool breakdown on Meta about the award we just got, about some of the things we've had going on, about some of the things that are going to be going on. So I urge everybody to go ahead and hop on in here and take a look at this article that was put out and read it thoroughly. There's a lot of great information here. It's a very captivating article. It speaks very highly of Meta Materials. So I'll, of course, put this link into my description, as well as the link to the Meta Materials page for the Lux Innovator Award of the Year article. And the next thing I do want to cover is the nanotech acquisition thing. It is going to be finishing up, we do believe, tomorrow, right here. So it is supposed to be on or about October 5th. That is the one thing I want to stress. A lot of people are freaking out, especially over certain things like BBIG, where the terminology was on or about for their investor deck. So I don't want anybody to get confused by this. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it doesn't happen tomorrow. Things get held up. That's why they put this about word in there. It does not mean it will happen on. It can be after or before, which, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, so I don't think it's going to. So just keep that in mind. If nothing happens tomorrow, if you don't hear anything about the nanotech stuff tomorrow, that is because it was an about situation and something probably came up. No big deal. And the last thing I want to talk about is this nanotech, Meet Nanotech Connect ID. This is tomorrow and on Wednesday, of course, of 2021. But this is basically where you can speak with nanotech. You can click here. You can put all your information in. I don't know if it's too late or not. I would highly doubt it if they're putting this out today. But hey, cool. This is something for them. Basically talking about their technology solutions for protection from counterfeiters. So awesome. This is tomorrow. Also, again, maybe this will coincide with our completion date. We will see. Now, this here is not a catalyst in any way. This is something that's been up and coming event. So yeah, don't think for this to do anything for the stock. What we really want to see is that completion date actually happen. All right, so the next thing I want to move on to is the reason why I feel like not just Meta, but the tech sector and the market overall took a huge dip today. All right, so there's several reasons why I think the market overall was down, especially our stock, but the tech sector too. So first and foremost, we already know there was major sell-offs today, major short attacks as well. And the reason for that is I think there was a lot of uncertainty in the market. We have new economic data that's being released on the 8th about the current unemployment or the current employment situation. Biden came out this morning and basically said he doesn't know if the debt ceiling is going to be able to raise. So that right there basically immediately started tanking the market. And I would think was probably the primary reason on the entire red market for the day. We also are going through a serious supply chain issue, which has not let up yet. I mean, if you look at this map, there's maps out there that you can look at. In fact, I'm going to try and bring one up here for you. You're going to see that there's a lot of ships that are just sitting off the coast. And that's holding the supplies for our country and really countries all over the place. But the longer they sit there, the more we are in need of those products, those goods. So it's going to keep causing issues, inflation issues, price issues, and ultimately market issues. Let's see here. We're coming off of a pretty bad week, guys. I have this all written down, so I'm sorry. I'm grazing at my notes. Last week was terrible as far as it goes overall in the market. I'm not saying that the market had a bad week, but there was a lot of bad news. The Fed spoke every day, and you know that whenever they open their mouth, we've got bad things that are going to happen. Also, easily probably one of the worst months we've seen in about a year. September has been a very rough month. So you can't expect for the stock to bounce back the very next day, the first day out of the gate into the new month. And I know Friday was technically the first day, but you're still dealing with a horrible week. So, yeah, that's what I've got to say about that. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the Pandora Papers. This could easily have been something that would have shifted the market overall. I don't know if a lot of you have heard about the Pandora Papers. I am reviewing them myself. There is a lot of information in there. A huge uncovering of a lot of political figures that may have been doing some pretty hinky things overseas with their assets, with their money. And I think that this is going to bring a lot of light on some really bad dealings, some bad workings through a lot of politics. And that's basically where I was going with the whole politics conversation. I don't talk politics on my channel, but this here, the Pandora paper, absolutely has to do with politics, and it has to do with our market because it is dealing with the overall assets of these very rich, wealthy people, not just politicians, but the 1%, we'll call them, since they like to be the 1%. They have been hiding their money overseas to basically escape taxes. And overall, that pulls the country's overall wealth down. So that's one of the things that I think also could have contributed to the overall market decline today. And lastly, we want to talk about Ken Griffin. So he had an interview today, and it was posted on Trey's Clips, which I will put a link to that video in my description. The one thing I want to talk about with that is, first and foremost, anytime Griffin opens his mouth, Kenny G, that's what we'll just call him, Kenny G. Anytime he opens his mouth, basically nothing but lies and vomit comes spewing out of it. However, in this interview, it could have been another reason why we saw a lot of the tech sector tank. So, as we know, Ken Griffin is the head of the largest hedge fund we have. And anytime, you better believe anytime he opens his mouth, people are going to listen. So when he started talking about the tech sector and how China's going to take it over and everything else, people were hearing that. And it was probably going to start driving that price down just a little bit more. And that's because he's an influential character. When he speaks, people listen. He is what you consider smart money. And unfortunately, people follow the smart money. Not like us, not the dumb money like us who are going to win. We're going to win. But with that being said, that's, I think, another one of the big contributing factors is Ken Griffin can't keep his mouth shut. Every time he opens his mouth, he just want to shove something in it, so he shuts it back up. Because you know what's coming out of it is not truthful speaking. He's just lying to help manipulate the stocks to bring them down to where he can do what he needs to do to take care of himself. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move away from all of this talk. I'm done with the news. This is a really long video. Let's get on to my prediction. Okay, so here's what we got for the prediction for tomorrow. Now, obviously, we're at a very critical level right here today. We're currently cruising at about the $5.10, $5.11 mark, and it's a little bit scary being down at this level, and I understand that. So what we want to do now is just remember that we have drawn a lot of lines in the sand, and we want to make sure that stock just kind of follows those lines. Now, today, obviously, there was no line following. It was just pure absolute dumping, which sucked. But we want to hope that tomorrow is going to be a shift. So here's what we got for tomorrow's prediction. And we're going to start out with the bear prediction just to get it out of the way. So, unfortunately, we are at a very low point, like I was saying, and we're getting awfully close to that critical bounce point that we have seen a couple of times before. Sterling's mark, which is the $4.76 mark. But what I'm ultimately looking for in the bear prediction is for it to bounce off the $4.90 mark. This has shown up a couple of times as a good level of support. So we're going to hope that it uses it as it again. Now, of course, if it does not catch here at the $4.90 mark, you could be expecting for $4.80 and then $4.76 to be its final catch, giving it a beautiful bounce like it has 2 times before already. $4.76 showing up as a true strong level of support. And as we know, that is Sterling's mark. Now, if it does take this deep of a dip past this point, you're going to expect for it to come all the way back up and immediately go back towards the $4.90 mark and trade here probably for the remainder of the day between $4.90 and $5. $5 is going to be showing up as an extreme level of resistance if we drop back below it. Because as we know, when we drop below a level of support, it turns into resistance. And that's almost immediately, unfortunately. It's not like turning it into support where we need to test it a couple of times. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move into our bull prediction. All right, if we go bull, go ahead and expect a morning dip. Just because I say this almost every day, we should expect it. Almost every day we see a morning dip. However, I don't think it's going to be a deep dip. I wouldn't see it go more than past $5. $5 being a good, solid bounce point for a morning dip. I know it's a very small dip, but it could happen. Now, beyond that, I would love to see it get right back on top of that $5.20 mark. Turn that into support. So in other words, consolidate on it or bounce off of it a couple of times between the 520 and 530 channel before finally breaking free of that 530 channel, going for a run to 535. If we can remount 535 and volume can really step in, we can really carry on some volume throughout the day, I would see an easy push to $5.50. Mounting that would definitely turn that into support again, where I'd love to see us just trade for the rest of the day. Turning this back into a good solid level of support, getting us back into that upward channel we really, really want to be in. Now, with that being said, we do need to come down here and take a look at our RSI and our histogram for our MACD. So the RSI is currently sitting at 42 right down here, and it is pushing down. So it is quickly approaching the oversold level. Our histograms were getting to be smaller bars here in the after hours. However, they are starting to regain. So when the market reopens tomorrow morning, I would expect for a little bit of a pullback there. Again, we take the aftermarket and pre-market with a grain of salt. We don't necessarily consider what happens in those time frames as anything we need to be concerned with, because as the stock has shown us previously over history, it likes to trace back to where it began, where it ended, I should say, where it ended the day before. We always start pretty close to that level, and as long as we can consistently do that, we can consistently get good movement predictions. So I think we covered it all, guys. This is a really, really long video, and I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. Like, subscribe, leave a comment in the algorithms below. Make sure you do what you got to do for your friends and family to get this video out there. Share it on all of the different platforms. I don't think you could share it on Facebook. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Facebook was shut down all freaking day, which may have also been contributing to this whole Pandora papers as well. Who knows? I don't really know. But make sure you share this on the platforms that you can share it on today, so that way everybody can get the knowledge of metamaterials. Let them know that we've got the best CEO out there, and he loves to be out there talking with his people. So that's all I got for today, guys. Peace.